We came into the Security Council prioritizing conflict prevention, peacemaking, and peacekeeping, women, peace and security, youth, peace and security, counterterrorism, climate security, accountability, small arms control, and Security Council reform. Additionally, our President, His Excellency Julius Maada Bio, in the last General Assembly High-Level Week, announced that Sierra Leone will also prioritize the West African and Sahel region and address food insecurity. 4 months into our tenure, despite the challenging global situation, Sierra Leone has endeavored to be a voice of reason. With balance and objectivity, a small state that seeks to promote the respect for and adherence to international law, the United Nations Charter, and dialogue for the peaceful settlement of disputes. This has been reflected in our statement on issues such as the conflict in Gaza, Ukraine, Sudan, and others. Sierra Leone has worked within the A3+ mechanism to spotlight African issues, and in this regard, we have been successful in our negotiations of press statements such as the MINUSMA press statement in January 2024. Last week, we led in the efforts to get the Security Council to issue a press statement on the Guyana and Venezuela matter as coordinator of the A3+. In this month of April, we are also coordinating the effort of the elected 10 members in the Security Council. We commend the effort of the E10, coordinated by Mozambique in March, in co-penning Resolution 2728 with respect to the Gaza conflict. Let me, ladies and gentlemen, therefore highlight our perspective on some of the pressing challenges that we face. A, on Gaza. We reiterate the imperative for an immediate and permanent ceasefire. We have supported and continue to support the effort of the United Nations Secretary General, UN agencies in getting aid into Gaza, and in the call for the unconditional release of all hostages. We continue to underscore the importance of accountability and a two-state solution to be persistently pursued now. On the admission of Palestine to membership at the United Nations, we can only repeat that Palestine membership at the United Nations may have been delayed, as often in regrettable periods of injustices, but cannot be denied. On Ukraine, we have expressed the view that the territorial integrity of Ukraine must be respected within its internally recognized borders. Now it is time to consider serious engagement that will lead to the path of dialogue and peaceful resolution. On Sudan, as we have marked the first anniversary of the commencement of hostilities, we have acknowledged the need to focus on various dimensions of the conflict, cessation of hostilities, addressing the humanitarian situation, and underscoring accountability. On Iran, Israel, we thank the Secretary General for his proactive engagement and statement. The emergency meeting of the Security Council on 14th of April was necessary for the message of de-escalation. Interlocutors must therefore continue to prevail on the parties to exercise maximum restraint and cease hostilities. On UNOWAS, where we deal with political, security, and humanitarian issues in West Africa and the Sahel, together with Switzerland as co-pen holders, we have led the negotiation on a draft presidential statement. We are at a critical moment, and Sierra Leone has insisted on the imperative for a product to enable peace and security actors to play a positive role because of the needs, of course, of the region. We will not allow the situation in West Africa and the Sahel to be abandoned and forgotten. Looking ahead, Sierra Leone will hold the presidency of the Security Council in August 2024 and will give particular priority to addressing the structural imbalance in the United Nations Security Council through focused discussion on the reform of the UNSC, that is, representation and rectifying the historical injustice done to the African continent. We will also continue on spotlighting peace building, the utility of prevention as part of the myriad of tools in maintaining international peace and security. We hope to reflect on the new agenda of peace, Secretary General's prevention strategy, and using our lived experience to inform current debate on concrete measures to prevent conflict at the national, regional, and international levels. This will be an excellent momentum builder towards the summit of the future. I thank you for your kind attention, and I will take a couple of questions from the press. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Nadi Satuma from Al Jazeera English. I'd like to ask a question in your capacity as the current steward of the E10, as well as one of the members in the A+ mechanism. The Council's meeting on Sudan today. What action can the Council take to make sure that the warring parties return to the negotiation tables and diplomatic relations can be restarted?
Incidentally, there was an AU press release yesterday with a communique which suggests that the Sudanese must come up with a Sudanese-driven peace initiative. And it's very important for parties to cease hostility and sit at the table to find a lasting solution to the conflict in Sudan.
Can I ask a quick follow-up?
Please.
This is not the first time many organizations have called for the warring parties to come to the table and find a lasting solution. What can you do to make sure that it's a reality and it actually happens?
We will continue our advocacy and ensure that the interlocutors that are working on behalf of the Secretary General will continue to engage all the warring factions for them to come together to find a Sudan-driven solution to their problem. Thank you.
Amélie Botelier from AFP News Agency. Another Africa file in the Council is Democratic Republic of the Congo, where the situation in the east is as bad as ever. Do you think the withdrawal of the UN mission should be slowed down and should be postponed?
Well, I think it should be calculated to ensure that even if the peacekeeping forces are leaving, that there is support given to the stakeholders of the country and the region to be able to find solution to the conflict. I agree with you that the situation is deteriorating, and this is the reason why the Council must reiterate its position on enabling the peace process to be held.
Thank you, Minister. Stefano Vaccaro, La Voce di New York, Intel Press. What is the position of your country about the Security Council reform? We know it's going to be long, but some African countries are requesting a permanent seat. Do you think it's a good idea, or you want more rotation?
Absolutely. Africa started its own campaign in 2004, which actually emanated from the SAC declaration, and there's a willing consensus. We, Sierra Leone, incidentally, happens to be the coordinator for the 10 heads of state assigned with this responsibility by the AU. The process is gaining traction, and engagement at different levels have been held, and there is positive show that this is going to be a reality. As a matter of fact, it's going to be part of our August presidency to ensure that the historical injustice that has been meted to Africa is rectified. We're grossly underrepresented in the non-permanent members category, and with no representation of Africa in the permanent category, I think it's a travesty that has to be corrected. Simply because over 70% of the issues that we discuss here in the Security Council have got bearing on the African continent. So it's very important that as coordinators of this effort, we enable the justice that Africa so desires in terms of having its voice in the permanent category with additional seats in the non-permanent category.
Minister Carver, thank you so much. Sherwin Briceby, South African Broadcasting. What did you make of the United States veto in terms of Palestinian membership of to the United Nations yesterday? And what do you believe its impact will be on the broader Palestinian file? As you know, the US says that this decision should happen in terms of direct negotiation between the two parties, but as you and I both know, there are no direct negotiations, not now, and certainly not in the foreseeable future. So how does that veto impact the way forward?
Well, it does. We are all looking forward to the admission of Palestine into the UN body. Palestine, like Israel, we believe the only solution to the conflict is to have these two countries existing with clear, mapped out, borders, if you like. And also, we've come too far, even more further than any other time that attempts have been made for the admission of Palestine. We're hopeful that the world is looking, and we're looking forward to our moral guarantors globally to show respect for the statehood of Palestine. So the Sierra Leone voted for the admission, and will continue to accentuate our voice for the admission of Palestine into the United Nations organization. Thank you.